This is a demonstration of the updated Room View plugin. If you're not familiar with the Room View plugin, it's a plugin that allows you to hide and reveal hide volumes automatically based on the position of the player minis. So in this particular case, we have a room here. It's got 2 player minis and 1 non-player mini. We can see that in this room we see all the content of the room, we see lights, we see the bad guys. Now if we move one of the player minis to a different room, it's going to immediately show us that room, again showing the content, any non-player minis in that room, and any lights. And when we move back out, there are 2 different settings. One setting, basically it's a setting called rehide, and if your rehide is on, it means once you move out of a room, that room is rehidden. If you turn that off, any room that you've already explored will remain revealed. Now we can verify here that if I take the other player and go to the room, again it is displayed. If I go to, so yeah, I can move my keyboard here. If I move into this room, we can see that it gets displayed. But if the GM moves, let's say, this enemy into another room, it disappears because the room is not revealed. Only the player minis reveal rooms. The GM can still move between rooms. As a GM, you can see that that it did actually move there, but the players won't see it because the non-player minis don't reveal rooms. So that way the GM can have all his foes and minions prepared in each room, and it's not going to cause the room to get revealed. So that's the basics of the Room View plugin. The way that it determines what is a player character and what isn't is if a mini is owned by any player, it is assumed to be a player mini. Any of the monsters, the GM doesn't need to own them. GM can always use any mini. So if a mini does not have any player assignment, no player has permission for it, it is considered a non-player mini, and then it will not reveal. So in terms of building rooms compatible with the Room View plugin, if we have a look at the full view here, we can see that each of these rooms basically has a hide volume associated with it. That's what gets toggled on or off. And we do need a little bit of special construction when building the rooms. You can see that any of the interior walls need to be doubled up. And the reason for that is, obviously, if we're in this room, we're not going to see this wall here, so we need to have a wall here to show the separation between the rooms. But if we are now in this room and we don't see this room, then we need the wall on that side to show that there's a wall, because hide volumes, if the hide volumes each hide the room, so obviously if we had only one wall here, one of the rooms would have it, not the other one, and then there would be a hole there if you're in the other room. So yes, all of your interior walls need to be doubled up. The exterior walls don't, because there's no room on the other side, so you don't need to worry about that. This was the same thing with the previous version of the Room View plugin. The new, I don't know if we want to call it a limitation, or let's call it design. You notice that I placed these floors here that are visible even when there isn't a room showing here. Whether or not that is needed depends on how you use the Room View plugin. If you go and pick up your mini and move that way, then there's no issue. The floor can be hidden with the room, and then there shouldn't be any issue moving from room to room. If, however, you use the arrow keys to move, then the floor needs to be excluded from the hide volume, because what happens is when you are moving with the arrows, when the mini enters a new room, the hide volume doesn't display quick enough, and the mini basically falls through the floor before the floor is visualized, and that causes all kinds of problems. So if you are planning to use the arrow keys, then exclude the floor from your hide volumes so that your floor will always be showing. You can make that floor a much larger area than the actual room so that the players aren't tipped off as to where rooms might or might not be. But you need to exclude it. If you're going to drag your mini by lifting it up and moving it, then there's no issue, and you can include the floors in the actual hide volumes. Now, there's one other feature that we have. By default, you can see that when I drag the mini over to the next room, it's not immediately shown until I drop. There is, however, a feature that, again, you can set in the configuration. At the moment, the rehide feature and this preview feature are configurable in the configuration, but there is no hotkey for doing that during game. So at the moment, you need to stop your game and edit the configuration if you want to change it. But there is a preview function where as soon as you cross over to the room, it will give you the view of that room, so you can kind of do a look ahead to see, do you want to actually enter the room. I will demonstrate that in a sec. I'm not sure if this is the exact same angle, but I did pause the video to exit in Talespire and set up the preview option, and then I logged back in. So if the angle was the same, it may not look like I stopped Talespire, but I did. So now I will show you the preview. So now, remember last time when I dragged the mini across the wall, I needed to drop the mini in order to see what's in the room. But now I can kind of do a peek. I can grab the mini, and as soon as I cross over, I can see what's in that room, and kind of simulating somebody peeking through the door, and then I can decide not to go there, or I can decide to go there. Now, with this feature, there is a little bug that I'm still trying to figure out why that's happening, and that is that sometimes when you cross over the wall, instead of seeing your mini, you'll just see the little circle. For now, that's just a bug that I need to figure out why that's happening. But as soon as you drop the mini, it does go back to showing the mini in full. So it's still usable. Yeah. So you can see right here, for example, I'm going back and I'm peeking over. You can see that my mini has disappeared. You can still see the circle where I want to place it. But as soon as I drop it, everything reverts back to normal. So yeah, that's basically the Room View plugin. You can make complex buildings with lots of rooms or caverns, and as long as you set up your hide volumes correctly, yes, you still do need to do that manually. There is no automation for that. But if you set up your hide volumes correctly, then the Room View plugin will reveal and hide them all for you, and you don't need to worry about it at all. And that's about it. I know these videos don't have great production quality, but they do have a lot of useful information. So please appease the YouTube algorithm goddess by casting the subscribe spell and then blasting your Eldritch Blast at the like button. It'll really help me out.